Good morning, class, and welcome to Chapter 3. Man, we're just plugging along as quickly as we can. So, not going to lie, this is probably my favorite chapter of the semester because, again, I'm a lawyer by trade. So this chapter is all about the legal environment, and this is really the stuff that I do on a day-to-day basis. So, I worked in HR for 6 years before I went to law school, and while I was in law school, I studied labor and employment law, which was my specialty. So that's why I really get excited about this chapter. I think all the chapters throughout the semester are wonderful, and you'll see my passion for it. But I'm not going to lie, this is my favorite topic that we talk about all semester. It's all about the legal environment of business. And this chapter talks about several different things. It'll do kind of a brief intro about the three branches of the federal government and how they interact to the laws that we deal with in an HR standpoint. But the focus of the chapter is really going to be on all the different federal laws that affect us as HR professionals. Some of these you may have heard about before. Title VII of the Civil Rights Act is the big one, which protects, employees from discrimination based on race, religion, sex, national origin, things along those lines. Inherent characteristics that it protects you from being terminated or disciplined for just because you're a part of that group. There are laws that we'll talk about, the Equal Pay Act, that makes sure that men and women are paid equitably for similar jobs. There's an Age Discrimination Act that makes sure that we're not discriminating against workers over the age of 40. There's so many different laws that affect us as employees, because remember, even if you never work in HR a day in your life, every single one of these laws that we're going to talk about in this chapter affect you because you're a worker in the United States and you have these legal protections. So it's a great thing to make sure you understand them, not only what your rights are as an employee, but what laws. So if you ever become a manager or a supervisor, director, whatever, you'll know what the law is related to your employees as well. After we kind of talk about the laws a little bit, then we start talking about some of the forms of different discrimination. You'll hear the term EEOC used. That's the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. It's a federal agency that's responsible for ensuring that employers do not discriminate with their employees based on these legal protections. And so the assignment for this week as well is you're going to be doing what we call an EEOC case summary, where I will give you a couple of cases, real life legal cases that went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, where you will take that case and you will analyze it and let me know kind of, what the major outcomes were and how we can utilize that information in our working world. So again, those instructions will be provided to you in the actual module itself. So, in addition to, kind of like how do we prevent discrimination, we also do a discussion on sexual harassment. I'm sure that's a term that you guys have heard, maybe so far. But again, we want to make sure that our workers, both male and female, feel safe from not being sexually harassed by another coworker, by another manager, because there's some very serious legal consequences if you're found responsible for that. So it's a strong legal protection we believe very strongly in. So we want to make sure that, you as an employee are protected from that as well. And as a supervisor, you know what the expectations are of you as well. And then the chapter concludes with a discussion with OSHA, OSHA, which is the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, which is basically all the laws that go into protecting us in the workplace. So if your job is dealing with hazardous chemicals, OSHA oversees how that information is responsible so that you don't feel you're protected in the workplace, essentially. So again, a lot of information in this chapter, a lot about the different laws. Little hint, I do like to ask several questions from this chapter on the final exam. So make sure you really study the laws and make sure you understand what they are, what they mean, et cetera, et cetera. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. But a great introduction for this chapter. Again, my favorite chapter of the semester. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks, class.